This video is to show you the basic workings of Vision, the Splicecom business management platform. You can see on screen here I have Vision. I'm clicked on the call performance icon, hence why I have the blue reports. I've got some other options along the top here of capacity planning. So by clicking on here I can see how busy our external trunks are, how busy our voicemail is, and if we have multiple systems connected, the amount of traffic between the different sites as well. We then have some cost analysis, so if your retailer's added into your system your call tariffs or call charges for those calls that are chargeable, then we can provide things such as itemised cost report, outgoing call breakdown, frequently dialed numbers, these types of things. So if I click onto here, for example, and let's have a look for this week. Frequently dialed numbers for this week. I'm not going to specify a user, I just want to look general, or I'm not looking at individual companies. I'm just going to take a general approach. And I can then run the report, and you can see that the top 20 numbers that have been called. If I go on to my call performance, a wide range of reports here. If I take some typical examples, first one, incoming call response. If I want to look at, say, today, or I could go to a particular period on the calendar that I want to set up, but as a custom, but I'll just do it for today. I'll look at our support team at Splicecom. So I have permission, so everything you can see is all permission based. I have permission to see support. I only want to look at external calls. I'm not interested in internal call traffic. So I'll generate my report here. And you can see they've only had 3 calls so far today, so relatively quiet. It is a Friday. The 2 calls between 10 and 11, I can click here and I can drill down and I can see the calling numbers dialed into support and the different engineers that have answered the calls, how long they rang for, how long they connected for. And you can see at the side here the speaker icon. So this is telling me that the calls have actually been recorded by Splicecom Vision Record. And if I have permission, I can click in here and I can then play the recording. If I needed to, I could email it to an individual, so I could enter the email address and send it. Or I can click on the download arrow here and I can download it to my PC and listen offline. Whatever action I take, listening, downloading, or emailing, will then update the audit log. So if I go back into this again, you can see the listen side. I've got my volume off. It's showing that I've already logged into this once before, my IP address where I am and the time and date. So full audit trail as to who's listening. Say if I don't have permission, I might be able to see the call data but not listen to recording, then it'll tell me up here in text, it will say you don't have permissions to listen to the information. If I go back to my call performance, another handy report is abandoned calls. So I want to look at abandoned calls. I'll do it for this week on the support team again, so just so I can try and get some traffic here. Again, run the report. I can generate the report and you can see here there's been 3 abandoned calls, 2 are lost and one of those people called back. So if we look down at the lost call report here, we could take there's 1 number showing up, 1 was unknown. If we called this number back, then this will go down to 1 and we'd be 1 call back here. So a very handy report here. A lot of people like to have this scheduled, so reports can be scheduled. If I go into the report admin, you can set up schedule reports. So you click on add, you choose the report you wish to see, so say abandoned calls, for the department you wish to monitor, when do you want it, what email address you want it sent to. Do you also want to receive the email with the report as a CSV file or PDF attached? So you just click here to add these or not, depending on what the case may be. Time of day you want it sent to you, etc. And they'll then be sent through. Now if I just go back to that report, there's one little interesting point you may notice there. I've got the internal and the external, but I've also got a duration then. So some businesses will not count a call as abandoned, i.e. the person hasn't hung up, unless the call's, say, been ringing for more than 6 seconds. So let's put, say, 6 seconds in there, run the report again. You saw there it was 2 calls previously. Actually, the first call was less than 6 seconds, so we're only counting 1 abandoned call. That person actually called back, so technically we've had no lost calls into the system over that period. Looking at users, if I go into overview by user here, just picking some of these reports, I can be specific, so I can choose a user and I can then monitor that user. So say for this week, see how busy Stuart's been, and I can see the total number of calls that he's made and received and been forwarded to his mobile. How many inbound calls were direct to him? Were they departmental calls? Did he hear any calls ring and pick up? How many were answered? How many abandoned? How many went to voicemail? And then on outbound, how many outbound calls he's made. And exactly the same things before. We click and drill down and see those calls in detail into each of those categories. and where the recording trigger has been met, the call's been recorded. Or if I go back and generate that report again, but this time rather than being specific, I could either put in the reporting group name, so say perhaps sales and see everyone in sales or support or accounts. But here I just run a general report and pick everyone up, and you can see I've got everyone now going along the graph. I can scroll down and see more people, but all the data is across everyone. So I can be specific to an individual, to a group. If I'm multi-tenant, I can look at individual companies. Or perhaps if I was a hotel and I wanted to see calls between rooms and see some unusual traffic happening, then I could report on internal call as well. We can have a look at other things. So contacts, if you've got known contacts in the system, you want to actually see how many calls have been made to and from contacts. You want to see how busy your auto attendant is and how many people are hanging up when they hear your auto attendant message. We have those types of things. Outbound data, so how many calls are being made out. If someone specifically has, say, for example, telesales department, we can look at outbound calls as well. So a nice range of reports here. Call center. This is only valid if you are licensed to be a call center. If not, this will not appear. But a very nice feature we have under call logs is I can click in here and I can actually search for calls. So I can have a summary of everything that's going in and out today, like a rolling summary of calls. If I actually want to search for a call, and this is quite often the case, someone will ring into a company, into reception, say I've had a missed call from this number. And of course, reception don't know what phone has made that call, but what they can do is ask the caller for their number. They can type in their number into the options here and say run it for that day, because perhaps they said, I had a missed call yesterday or today. So if it was for today, enter the number, generate the report, and then find all calls to and from that number the person has specified. So it's a nice feature there. That covers our basic summary. Thank you.